Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video was a special one because I've actually been helping out professional golfer Josh Oddy. Now, if you don't know Josh, he does a fantastic job on social media and he is a fantastic player. But this is my second in-person lesson with Josh and we recorded the whole thing. And there are some fantastic golden nuggets in there for you to check out. So please enjoy the video and I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, I think it was.
And how has it been? How was the ball flight? How was those things?
Yeah, definitely different. And I'd say for me, it's almost getting used to like a completely different ball flight, especially with driver, you know, like all of a sudden I remember in Qatar, like first few holes, I'm seeing driver actually go the other way and I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on?
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to seeing that. But
was you comfortable with seeing that? It's okay to say no as well.
Yeah, probably, if I'm completely honest, probably not. But just because, and I've worked out over time now that the irons and stuff are a lot, and I can tell with turf interaction mostly, it's not like that way anymore. It's kind of like the divots are a lot shallower.
So you've hit some clean ones.
Yeah.
What would you say the poor strike has been, if there has been one?
Definitely like pickier.
Pickier.
With the irons, yeah.
Okay. Flight-wise high?
Yeah, flight, I'd say when I get it, yeah, it's like a lot, yeah, probably a bit higher. Okay. But yeah, and then like, especially like with setup, I feel like at the minute, I feel like I'm getting in a pretty good setup. And then as I start to get into the back nine on the course, it probably starts to go a bit more and more like that way, you know?
And do you see the ball flight change when you do that?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, when I played the other day, I would kind of say it's like comfortability though. You know what I mean? Like I was standing on some holes and I'm like, I just know where this fade's going to go. So I'll kind of just seep back into that. But then if there's a hole where I can open up and I'm like actually putting good swings on it, it's a lot better.
I think the goal though, just to finish on that, was it's not to take you away from where you've played good golf.
No.
That's the one thing I'd say. Like, and I tell this story all the time. Yeah. He says otherwise, but I genuinely believed I messed up a golfer.
Really? Yeah.
He was an All-American.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if I told you this last time, but
yeah,
I'll say it again anyway, but he was an All-American and he was awesome. And he hit this squeezy cut.
Yeah, every time.
And every single time. And he came to me and he was like, listen, it's a bit squeezy, I can't control it. And we turned him into a shallow draw player. This was a long, long time ago. Yeah. And the moral of the story is he literally didn't play very well after that because he sees everything off the left edge of the green, sees it peeling in. Yeah. And we took that predictability away from him or what he was comfortable with. Yeah. He says otherwise, but I still think we did. And the same for you. I think going back into last lesson, it wasn't necessarily about giving you a draw. No. It certainly wasn't. It was about you were getting narrow. It was too much. It was too carvy. Yeah. I'm still comfortable for you to play the cut. Yeah, but in a different format.
Exactly what you've just said. Like I'd definitely say when I'm getting it with driver, it's like an actual fade. It's not like a swipey cut. And then when I say like on 16 when I played the other day, I did hit a swipey cut. But when I'm looking at that now, I'm like, oh my God, that's hideous. That's not a fade. That's a swipey cut. And then there's times where like I'm actually hitting good fade swings that are moving 5-10 yards with driver, not 30-40.
And that's the problem, you know, back into last lesson when it was palm underneath, wrestling it forward like that. That's where the problems lied, getting very narrow. Yeah. So, and I think just touching on what you sent me on Skillist the other day, it makes sense.
Does it? Yeah.
And I'm pleased. You've made this lesson a lot easier for me, I think, because I'm happy that you still want to play the cut because there were some cut bias things that I wanted to add back into it. Right. So, for example, where you got very, very good at the top, but then I see quite an aggressive drop of the arms.
Yeah, it's strange that I do that,
quite
isn't it?
closed. Yeah. Now, I obviously like the forearm position.
Yeah.
Now, don't try it yet. We'll get onto it. Yeah. But where I would then say from this external position, it makes more sense to then start opening up a bit more and moving the path. What we want is like a wider cut, not a smothery one.
100%.
That's what I want to get to. But look, let's get some on film. Let's keep getting loose. Yeah. And we'll see a couple. But that's what I think anyway. So. What club you got there?
9-9.
No, cool. Cool. Don't change anything, just keep rocking and rolling. When you feel comfy, obviously move yourself up to 7.
7-9, yeah.
Only when you're comfy.
Cool. I noticed something the other day as well, and I don't know whether you saw this in our last lesson, but from face on, like, my knees are almost like...
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then when I was in the net the other day, I was trying to turn on like that versus like that. Like, there's so much more turn.
We'll discuss that. I think it comes
really
from...
weird.
It stems from the... it stems from the groin, the ankle, and we can go from there, yeah. I definitely prefer a more flared stance.
Yeah. Because when the feet go that way, I feel like the knees want to go that way, versus when they're like this, the knees are almost...
And I think, just touching on that, do that again. Yeah. We might as well cover it quickly. So if you just touch on that.
So I'd say that's better than what it was. Like that.
We'll talk about the feet a bit more, because I can see even bulging onto the outside of the shoe there. I would have way more flare in the feet. Probably 20 to 30, almost 40 degrees of flare.
Well, like you can just turn it, like you can turn
now narrow yourself in a bit more.
Yeah.
More flare. Good. Then, if you just do this, look at it crazy doing it, but if you do that, your knees should flex out over the toe line, which is good. Then I think, and I'm
that feels so strange, yeah.
And I'm in agreement as well that there still needs to be a relatively large shift forward from you. Yeah. But if you go to top, and we'll get onto that in a moment, but as you go to the top, what we'd want to see is the knees start leading pack. So the knee pushes forward, the pelvis pushes forward, and that's way more loaded in there, isn't it?
Yeah, way more loaded.
Whereas, set yourself up again, if your feet were way more turned in, and that goes a little bit knock knees, then as you start to shift forward, the knee will stay inwards. So it will almost go that way.
That way.
And that's not quite the right way for me.
Yeah.
It's not quite the right way.
Yeah.
But cool, hit a few more.
Mate, it was just, I clocked it when I was doing some face-on stuff, and I was like, why am I, like, my knees were literally like this, and I was like, what?
Completely agree. Completely agree.
I was like, what is going on? But
I think it'll really affect your ability to push into the lead side.
Yeah.
But we'll get onto that. We'll have a good look at it. Shot.
Direction's better than what it was. Still a little bit that way, but...
Yeah, that's all right.
So can you, if you had a minor swing direction, technically, can you still draw that though?
Yeah. Well, you did. If you had a swing direction of -1.
Yeah.
But a path of +3.
Yeah, that's. So even if that is left, you can still draw.
So if we dilute these down, hopefully this works nicely.
Yeah.
What you've got is you have a swing direction that is left.
Yeah.
But a path that is right, and this is what everyone tries to move. But actually, if you try and move your swing direction and attack angle, path will move on its own. And we'll get into that during the lesson. I was trying to say,
can we work that number out? Can we work that number out? But you can't, can you?
Well, you can if you move that one.
Right.
What I would say for someone that wants to hit a cut, I'll talk about how we can move those numbers differently through setup, alignments, because TrackMan's only reading where the club goes at the end of the day.
Is it? Right.
But we'll talk about how we can move those numbers. Now, that number, we were primarily talking about driver.
Yes. Not irons.
Irons, it's okay. If you want to hit a stock draw, they're brilliant.
Is it? Right, okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
If you're trying to hit a little cut, they've got to move a bit more left.
Get a little bit left on that, right.
What we were discussing last lesson was obviously the swing direction was so far left with driver and
what was it last time? Like 5, 6 left, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the reason being is because, as we spoke about, and I'll go through this again because I thought this was really good and a lot of people benefit from this. Where's a T? Let's use this. So for driver, this is why a lot of guys really, really struggle. So this is the arc of the swing, okay? So low point is the bottom of that effectively, okay? Now, when we're hitting driver, we want our low point, for a lot of people, want their low point to be behind the golf ball. Yeah. So that would be the first thing. So the low point bottoms out so they can hit up on the golf ball. I think that's quite clear.
Yeah.
But what we neglect is the more up the stance is, the more, or the ball is, the more back that low point is. This is swing direction, so the direction this points. And this is where it gets complicated. Because if I place that behind the ball, so Josh, you can answer this one.
Yeah.
When that line or the stick touches the golf ball, is it on the up or the way down?
It's on the up.
Okay. Where's the stick pointing? So let's take this bit. Where's that point, left or right?
Left.
Left.
Yeah.
But I have a zero swing direction. This is pointing it. So for me to actually hit up on it and draw it, my swing direction
got to be positive.
Needs to be positive.
Yeah.
So now you can see my low point's behind.
Yeah.
My actual direction has shifted to the right, and then the stick can go over the top of the ball relatively straight.
Yeah.
But we neglect that, and I think that's why a lot of guys struggle to draw their driver or control the curve. Because most guys will come over the top.
Yeah.
Which then moves the low point more forward. But you can also see now how aggressively left that's pointing.
That's why I say
when it touches the ball.
Old man, like he'll hit irons, and I see path at like, say he's like 3 left on an 8 iron, and I'm like, oh my god, when you get to driver,
it's going to be way left,
like,
right?
It's game over, yeah.
And it's only because the low point has now gone. Let's say we're hitting an iron shot.
Yeah.
The low point with an iron shot can be after the ball. Want to hit ball, then turf.
Yeah.
So that's crossing the ball and pointing to the right. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
So I can kind of get away with moving my swing direction left.
Yeah.
And that's pointing straight over the ball. And that's what you've got here. You've got a swing direction that's fractionally left. So that's this curve pointing fractionally to the left.
Yeah.
And I've hit down on it, and you can see I've produced a positive path. So you can get away with it with an iron, but the second you get to driver, a lot of guys struggle with that.
So the swing direction actually measure bang on the low point? Like always bang on the low point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? Where that bottom?
So swing direction.
Swing direction is this.
Always measured right, but is that generally from the centre?
So these are all measured. All these numbers are measured at point of compression.
Yes.
So
Okay.
So at the point it touches the golf ball.
Because I'm 5 down, effectively that is still right.
Yeah. Look.
Yeah. So
that's measuring this angle.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah.
So you can see that. Use my foot for a second.
Yeah.
You can see that that's measuring a slight angle at the point it touches the golf ball. So TrackMan measures when it hits the ball.
Right, okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, interesting. Cool. Yeah. Interesting stuff, the old low point.
Yeah, a conversation topic from last time for sure.
Yeah, I was saying to my old man about it, and like, I was just saying when he's like 3 or 4 left on an 8 iron, I'm like, that's why you're game over when you get to driver.
Indeed. So keep making the swings that you sent me, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's just bring up the relevant numbers. Whoa. Whoa. All right, there's a pretty big number in there we're going to talk about.
Big number?
Yeah, one that just needs a little bit of care.
I'd say as well, like, my net swing, you know when that driver swing I sent you, my net swing's a joke. But then obviously when it gets on course, it's like, it's different.
I mean, you're hitting it really good.
Yeah.
I mean, from a predictability standpoint, it is predictable, as in every ball is moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
But it's just not a way that you feel comfy hitting it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, especially with driver, I think it's just taken time to get used to. I mean, I've gone from what, like...
Are you warm enough?
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that swing in particular, if that's
that one there, yeah.
That would be a great one to talk about.
Them numbers are looking like a bit Chinese to me. I'm like, what is
right?
Low point
that's
distance?
Good because there's one number on there that I'm seeing. But let me just upload this onto the iPad.
Yeah.
Quickly, where's the strike bin? On a serious note, where's the strike bin? Tully or Healy?
I don't know. Pretty good.
Been all right.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay.
I'd say I often get like a toey one with driver.
Okay, I'm pleased you said that.
Yeah. I'd say like I get like a high toe no spinner. Actually, can you film that a bit, please? Yeah, I'd say I get like a high toe, low spin with
Perfect.
driver. Yeah.
I'm pleased you said that because looking at this stuff, right, it is undoubtedly a million times better.
Yeah.
So we can see here that from a setup position, you are doing a way better job of the elbow.
Yeah.
As you move into the backswing, something that's quite noticeable is just the width.
Yeah, it is.
Way wider. And the one you actually sent me on Skillist was even better than this.
Yeah, it was.
But this is definitely real.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing it in the flesh rather than you picking the one that you want me to see.
I'm still trying to hit that straight as well. In the net, I'm trying to get that perfect swing.
And I think the thought process of, we mentioned about using the Shore Golf connector with the strap around and still feeling it.
No end,
And I think still do it.
Yeah.
I would say it's a trillion times better. Maybe not out the woods yet, but it's a million times better. And you'll see that in transition, that this can still get a little narrow.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so you can see the arms start to flex and get pulled into the body, right? So we're going to discuss that. I think though you'll also agree with me that, and what you showed me on Skillist was the arms dropping down a lot.
Yeah.
I think the body line staying a little bit closed for too long, and I think that's very obvious in this face-on one that the body line's a bit closed. So that's really what I want to discuss. A lot of the same, but we're going to try and open up the rib cage a little bit more as well, which would start to, as I start to open up the rib cage, you can picture that drop might start to dilute.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to still get the same width.
Yeah.
Still external.
Yeah.
But then from here I can work the club still out in front of me.
See, I get the feeling of like, you know, when you get club like coming, so like say I'm doing this move.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that by doing this move, the club would then be more over the top here.
Now, if you had your old move of it going internal and then pitching out with the shoulders, like a lot of guys do, then you're talking about wipey ones again, feeling really steep again and left. But you're not quite in the same pattern now where the trail arm is in a better space. So it gives me the opportunity to do that, because if I can nick your club for a second, if you come around this side for me. Because again, like I said, in the old place of going internal, you can see that shaft steepening. Then starting to work the rib cage open, that doesn't quite work.
No.
So hence why, you know, and I think you'll see this in a second, where this would go forward and then would start to back up to then put the shaft into a decent spot. But now you've got rid of that. You're now working the club up and down a decent line. This is staying more external in the 3, as we spoke about last time. Then that gives me the opportunity to then work the chest open without this going massively out in front of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then we can knock these numbers down a little bit, because there's one number on there that I really, really want to change. Okay, or that I think needs to change. Hence why you hit, it feels very clean, you mentioned to me at the beginning. A little bit toey as well. If you look at this number here, this is swing plane. Okay, so I'm going to explain this in the simplest form I can, but going through these numbers, you said they look a little strange to you. We can see that you've hit down on the golf ball a nice amount. You swung to the right by 3 degrees on average. Now, for someone that wants to hit a cut, moving that into a -1 or 2 would probably be more appropriate for you, rather than slightly to the right. Low point, again, is just effectively where the club bottomed out, which is good. But the swing plane is at 49, okay, which we would regard as shallow. So picture it this way. If I was to draw, and you've probably seen it, drawing the circle around the body, you know, like you do on the TV sometimes. A steep one would be when that circle moves quite vertical. Okay, so that is a 90-degree angle. Then you've got your sort of 60-degree angle. So for a 7-iron, around, I like it slightly shallower, around 58, 59, 60, 61, 62 is fine as well. But you're sitting at 49.
That's interesting.
Which is showing me that it's just too shallow. It's almost too, and that links in really nicely to the Skillist stuff you sent me, because I saw you go lovely to the top, being more external is going to shallow it out, let alone you dropping your arms down your chest and staying closed, which makes it double shallow, which is going to make it too clean, hence why you haven't been able to, let's say, cover it or take a divot. That would be why. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So from there, I want you to do exactly the same work. So if we just grab the Shore Golf ball here, obviously we've had a resistance band around it and feeling like two things. Firstly, it really helps your address. You can see where that points. So getting my arm more in the 3 or more underneath helps me point that more down the line. Then keep stretching it, but stretch it throughout the swing. So even from here, we're still looking to push it away. Keep it in its 3. But then keep it pushed away. Does that make sense? Yeah, because what you would do is typically get quite narrow, and then that's when you start to see the back out. Then it gets really shallow, then you hit the toe of the golf club. Does that make sense? So I'd want to see you continue doing that work where we keep this elbow more underneath. Still do that, because that's been fundamental for you setting the club good and keeping that shape into the downswing rather than wrestling forward. So I really like the fact that you're doing that, okay? But you're now in a situation where you could start to open up the rib cage.
Allow it to turn,
So less drop and a little bit more turn.
Yeah.
So how I would personally, well, I'd like to explore. I don't know. We're only human until we find out, right? But how I would like to, and it might feel a little bit detrimental to some width, but if I place this stick under my right arm like so and said, right, never drop it, I would have to start to squeeze it through here.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can still keep it in its 3, which helps me grab it.
Yeah.
I want to keep my arm in the 3, coming down, but I actually want to start to work the rib cage a little bit more to the left rather than tilting and backing up.
Right.
So from here, and we'll try it. Might work, might not, but we'll see. From here, keep it nice and wide. I'm rubbish at it. I'm rubbish at it. But there, so, for example, you can see
swing plane.
The swing plane nipped up at 57. The path was a little bit more to the left. Yeah. So we can start to work the path more to the left. The second thing, which you've got to be careful on an indoor simulator, is we're aiming straight down the mat line.
Yes.
Would you do that on the golf course? No. Well, TrackMan reads where I swing this golf club. It doesn't know who's on the end of it or where I'm aiming. It just reads the club coming through here. So if I accidentally aim over here, it's going to read a positive number.
Exactly.
Even if I come over the top, it will still read a positive number. Same for you. Adjust the setup. Yes, I'm in the 3, but if I move my baseline more to the left, guess what TrackMan's going to read?
Left numbers.
Path that's more to the left without me changing anything. So all of a sudden, here's another way of doing it. You can aim fractionally to the left, still get your technical work done. And then just exit round there and you might be able to hold the face a little bit more. But it's not a wipey left, is it? Because I've just shifted the baseline. So you have to be careful indoors, and I know you have your own sim anyway. So when you're reading numbers, something certainly to consider.
So will that, if I put that stick underneath my arm, will I have to turn to actually hit the ball?
Give it a go.
If I don't turn, will that...
You give me the feedback. That's what I'm going to say. Yes is the answer. So you tell me, if you just hit a little 3/4 shot, right, you tell me if you have to feel more open or not. By the way, it's fully okay to tell me no.
Right.
Because I will just adapt and change the drill. All right? I'll just change it around a little bit.
I've seen this drill before.
Let's see if you can keep hold of the stick. That'd be the first thing. Yeah, so still keeping your arm in the 3, go to top. Do not lose the structure of that. I never want to see it wrestle forward.
That way,
okay? But let's just see. Let's just see. And you tell me if you felt like you had to open up the rib cage a bit more.
Maybe unintentionally.
Okay.
Which is probably quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly think if I don't turn, I mean...
There's another way I can deal with it, it's not a problem.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Look,
would
have
you
a couple
say
of
that's
goes.
unintentionally doing that for you? You
You can also, like if you wanted to add a bit of intention,
go
to the top of your swing for me. Now see this end of the stick?
Yeah.
Rather than doing this, where you tip and that rises,
Yeah.
you're going to swing more to the right, aren't you? Whereas you can feel like that works a little bit more low and around you as well.
A bit that way.
Would that keep you more on top of the ball?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Especially now you're, right, I just want to say though, you're shallow enough to cope with that.
Yeah, it's crazy because for me, feeling more left is like scary because I'm like, yeah.
Now it would be scary if you went that way as well, but you're now in a position where it's decent.
Yeah.
There will be an element of drop, of course there will.
Yeah.
But then you can actually start to open up the ribcage more. I want you to work the shoulders more around here rather than, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, because you do go a little bit this way as well and get a little high. It'd be nice to see that.
I mean, sometimes I feel like people that fade it or hit slices, they almost fight away from going left. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, they're almost scared to turn.
Yep.
But then in reality, I think like what you're saying, if I didn't have that right arm, I wouldn't be able to turn, would I?
I always say you have to earn the right to rotate.
Yes.
I'm a big believer that you have to earn the right to rotate.
It's not as simple
I can't just go, so someone would send me a swing and go, I just need to get more open. I'm like, I agree, you do.
Yeah.
But if I'm like this, getting open isn't appropriate and thrusting is appropriate. But you're now in a wonderful place where you're wider, wider and shallower than you've ever been. You now can own the opportunity to do that.
Also, this move that I do
from
the top, I feel like that's just a massive power thing for me. Like
generating?
Yeah, like when I do a slow swing, it's so pure. Like it's so much wider. But as soon as I add speed, I just do this.
Here's something you may not have thought of. So I teach another golfer who does this.
Yeah.
Now, this might not be it.
No.
But I think it probably does bleed into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's just rewind back to when I last saw you. We had it going internal, the shaft falling over itself.
Yeah.
Where would you say I'm going to hit that? Left?
Left, yeah.
Okay. Well, what about if I do this? What, does that change anything?
Yeah, it's now probably going to be pretty
straight.
Yeah.
You're just an elite golfer, mate.
Yeah.
You understand how to get, ball to flag, and you're really good, and you're really, really good at it.
Right.
I've just taken up paddle. My technique is shocking, but I'll somehow figure out how to get the ball to its
How addicting's paddle?
So good.
Oh my God.
But I think you as an elite player have figured out a way to get ball to target. If I'm going to get narrow and turn and the shaft is through here, I think you've just figured out a way to work the ball to its destination.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, go again.
So you think over time then that's what I've just learnt to do at high speeds?
Possibly.
Right.
Again, lesson 2, haven't got enough background to probably know.
Yeah.
My assumption would be that.
Yeah.
But again, go to the top. Keep the arm in its structure, because by keeping it in the 3, it stays shallow. Yeah. So the club falls through here. So you don't need to add any additional run down.
No.
You can just almost keep it a bit more here and turn.
Because I've seen like a lot of the, I do get on the old swing, at night time, just watching swing.
So do I.
Mac O'Grady, like Rob Wright, all of it. And like Mac's so like from the top here,
outward.
He's like out that way, isn't he? Like outward. The left arm is like right out here.
Not steep though, is it? Not in a steepening way, but
But he says between 4 and 5. Is it 4 and 5? He wants the left arm to go like that, like outwards. Back outwards.
I think that's quite evident in a swing that everyone likes, Robert Rock.
Yeah.
I think that's quite evident.
Yeah.
Where you'll see him get it nice and folded, nice and shallow, and then he'll start to pitch out. But as he pitches it out, it does go a little bit that way.
Yeah, and that's what I find. Like I find that the outward move for me, maybe just where I've been before, if I did that in the past, it would be way left.
And I think that's why you've always tried to stay closed.
Yeah.
Because that's how you've managed that shot.
Yes.
Whereas now you've done some awesome work, and if you go to the top again, you've completely changed. Like literally a month, you've completely changed this. So before that would have gone that way.
Yeah.
Appropriate to turn?
Yeah. No. At all.
How would you move now? You probably go under, and that's what I see a lot from.
And I used from here. I used to just do that, didn't I? Like the left arm.
I think that's a management thing.
Yeah.
So go to the top again. Now you can feel, and again, it's a little bit counterintuitive because I still want some width in there.
Yeah.
You can still add width because it comes from the elbow joint, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like you can still keep that tucked in and add width from the elbow joint.
Yeah.
So from here you can feel a bit wider. The rib cage is going to actually start to open up.
Yeah.
Now, as a checkpoint, this is a really good one for you. I'd want the shoulders to be back to square, meaning down the target line.
P6?
Which that's not, at 6.
Yeah,
So that's square, look at that.
Yeah.
How, does that feel more open for you?
That feels like I'm literally 40 yards left.
Which we can see is square. But the club hasn't pitched outside.
No.
Whereas, when that fell into a 2 or a 1, and then if I get that to then it's going to feel horrible outside the ball line, pulling the hands in, standing up.
That's scary.
Whereas now, go to top again. Good. Now from there, this is a great angle here, and I can keep that there. From here, just work the, how good is that?
Yeah.
So we kept it in its 3, that's why I've put the shaft there.
Yeah.
If I go that way round, I can twist it more internal, which I don't want to do. So one more time to the top. Start to open the rib cage. Stop.
Yeah, that's money.
More there.
Yeah, more on it.
And that's a good delivery. Now, you said to me at the beginning that you felt it was clean, underneath perhaps. Does that feel like that's going to be clipped?
Like
it's going to feel like a bit more, into it.
I do, for me, that P6 is just huge because like, I think like ultimately, if the club isn't good here, like it's gone already, isn't it? In my opinion. Like,
correct. So let me borrow this again.
Yeah.
Right. So you just come around this side for me.
Yeah.
We swing, like we mentioned a minute ago, the club in a circle around the spine. You've now got a much shallower end here. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Which gives me the opportunity this side to work it back out this side again. That would be neutral.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't need to be here and then over there.
So from like 4 to 6 now is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't need to be as, and would you be honest enough to say that you've tried to stay closed in the downswing?
Yeah, 100%. Just to
manage it. Just to manage it, yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's what I'm saying. But now we've got it more here. I can actually begin to obviously push forward. I'm a big fan still. Getting the shoulders square, and you can see where that is.
Yeah, money, mate, isn't it? Yeah.
Whereas the management style from here
is only that way, yeah.
And you did a wicked job of it.
Yeah.
A wicked job.
Yeah.
But then now I'm quite narrow as well, I feel.
Yeah.
So again, keeping it more external and wide, even through here, feeling the width is fine. But I've got the ability now to square off the shoulders and exit a bit more through this side.
Yeah.
So that's where I was talking about it being more matched in.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Rather than it can now be in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's hit some. Hit a couple more. Now you understand the intention of the stick.
Yeah.
To try and get the exit a bit more this way and this way.
Yes.
Let's see if we can move the numbers around a little bit. I like the plane jumped up on the last one. Jumped up a little bit. I mean, still got a long way to go, but it was better.
Yeah, I want it, yeah. I feel like sometimes as well, like on course, I'm doing this, but then like sometimes I just feel like it's like it's not quite in free. Do you know what I'm saying?
And I think that's just because you sit a bit this way.
Is it? Yeah.
Again, just be careful with it. I think the setup is massive for you.
Yeah, it is.
Because that dictates how that arm moves massively.
I filmed a video on course the other day. I'll overlay it. And like, I said, I'll show you it now. Just because you can see it in setup, like how much better it is. Like in setup, like that, that's the first time in my life I've ever seen like lines like that. Feet,
you can see feet, knees, shoulders, arms all in one place. Like, whereas when you was in last time,
I've never seen that. Yeah, I've never seen that. And that was a toe. That I towed it, but
there you go. Go back to that again. So a little narrow, but watch the arm drop, and you just stay closed forever. Look at that. Just so closed.
Yeah, I am, aren't I? At 6 there.
Really closed. Yeah. Really closed. That's your management style.
Right.
Which
even now,
which again now you're swinging it way better than
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
The one you sent me the other day was so good.
Was it?
So,
in
best
the net?
I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Best
yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah. In the net, I can get it a joke, but like on course, you just go back to, oh, I need to go comfy again. You know.
So again, let's try a few.
Yeah.
I might even work it out this way. Let's drop that a second.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to put my life on the line a little bit. Set yourself up.
Yeah.
Right. Go to the top of the swing for me. Keep the width.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it in its 3. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's your goal. Come back down. Then I'm going to stand here, and your goal now is to keep it nice and wide and shallow, but then exit underneath me into the follow through. And you're gonna tell me, did you have to move the rib cage more open or more closed?
Yeah, way more left that.
And isn't it interesting how you can swing left and still have a path that's
Yeah,
not portraying
I felt
that?
like I was way left there.
And again, and that's just matching in the arcs a bit better.
Is it? Right.
Yeah, get a bit more on top of this one. Try not to.
I can feel it in strike, you know. I can feel it in strike massively.
Go on, do that again.
It's a lot pickier.
Do that again. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
That was really good.
Yeah, it felt
that was really good. There you go. And now you start to just see that ball almost want to turn back into the flag. It's literally going to go in the hole. Let me get another video of that.
Wow.
So on this next one, again, go to the top.
Yeah.
And then from there, I want you to feel like the rib cage is opening a bit sooner.
Still
let the arms come down.
Yeah.
Don't leave them up there too long.
Hit this one?
No, just one more to the top. And then you're going to feel like as the arms, and the arms will work down, but as the arms work down, I need you to feel like this starts to open out. There you go. So when you get to 6, a bit further down, there you go. I want you squarer. So now we're starting to see, you mentioned lines.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see the lines. Let me just film one. Whenever you're ready, bud.
Yeah.
Now I think this is going to look very different. So there we go. Now we've got a situation where the path is starting to work back in again.
Yeah.
It was at 3, now it's at 0.
Yeah.
Now how would I move that from 0 to -2? I'd move your alignment.
Yeah, you'd go left.
All of a sudden I'd move your baseline.
Yeah.
I'd move your baseline. But let me just throw that on the iPad quickly and I'll show you this one and the difference between the one that you sent me the other day, which I think was a better representation of you after some practice. For me, this is kind of what I'm talking about, where I would regard this as probably the best backswing that I think I've seen from you. Again, you mentioned about lines. I think I can see those lines really nicely from where the shoulders are aiming and so on, just by getting that more in the 3. But probably for me, the best backswing I've certainly seen from you. Even today, I'll be honest with you, like, I know my camera angles are fractionally different, but you can see that one's a little higher, a little better. Like,
That's
I like
where I do feel like in my net swing, I do go like more like
I guess
here.
you've got the confidence to do
in
so.
the
There's
net,
no consequence, right?
No, yeah.
But, so love that. If we could make that the goal, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's still really good, by the way.
Yeah.
But you'll notice what I was talking about if I draw a line down from the elbows, grip, you know, now, as long as there'll be a little bit of drop, of course there will, right? But then you want to start working the club back out to the ball. If I don't work it out, what part of the club might I strike?
Toe.
Toe, yeah, because I've kept it deep.
Right.
And that's what you're going to see. Watch this.
That's interesting.
Can you see how the hand path works?
Yeah, like
Very deep and low. So your path is very much
it's like an artificial
shallow
underneath. Yeah.
You don't need to do that now because if you look at your trail elbow, it goes. What would have happened before is that's the angle and it would have wrestled forward.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you keep it beautifully in the 3. It doesn't. It actually goes backwards if anything.
Goes that way. Yeah.
So you've shallowed it. You've done your work. You don't need to shallow it any more past that. But now you've got to start getting open. And you can just see here that there's, would you agree, there's a bit of a loop to that? Yeah, that's when the shoulder goes up, the thrust underneath.
Yeah.
Watch this one. way more up and down a singular line.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's probably the best I've seen you move. Look at that, and there's still a shallow in. Look, you're still not wrestling that forward into...
Not, yeah.
And that's what I said to you, as long as you get there, and yes, there'll be a little bit of lowering. I've still got to lower my arms. They start lower.
Yeah.
They raise a little bit. They've got to lower a touch back down, do you know what I mean? Which you've got, but now you can start to square some things off.
It's not over as well, is it?
So when you hit the ball,
bang,
we are a touch more middle of the face, touch more open.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy, would you agree with me, quite shut, club come in almost too far behind at 6. Now I know my camera angles are fractionally different, but have a go on that.
Yeah.
But you've got the opportunity to rotate now.
Yeah.
Providing you keep your backswing, I'm going to keep mentioning that.
Yeah.
Providing you keep that, and then you can be there at the middle of the bat, you've worked the club back out to the ball again. Versus here, you can just see fractionally in here.
Yeah.
And then as you go through here, you can see the exit work out to the right versus more inwards to the left. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
So then through here, it exits, you can see the exit moving more left. Can you see how far right that is? Yeah, almost going to end up quite flippy at some point, isn't it? And that's what's talking about the exit, the shaft pitch coming out a little bit through the shoulder line.
It's different.
On plane, here's a nice checkpoint for you as well. If I draw a line there, in the most ideal scenario, do you remember I mentioned earlier in the session it matching in?
Yeah.
In the most ideal scenario, that should start to touch out the other side. Yeah, that's pretty close. Versus
that guy's
when that goes through here, so we're looking at when it starts to sort of dissect the body.
Yeah.
Way too far to the right. Way too far to the right. But you owned the opportunity now to work this on an arc where you go to here, it's shallower.
Yeah.
And I can match in that circle without jeopardising, that was a 0 path.
Yeah.
So
mental.
So then what you can start to do, see if I can hit one, where I'd move the baseline fractionally left, even if it's 2 degrees, that's going to move my path from 0 to -2.
2 left, yeah.
So now I just set my baseline a bit more open.
Yeah.
Still the same work. Obviously I've got to maybe set the face a little bit differently. That's pure. And I've got that one that just bleeds.
Little money fade.
Get on tour. Come on.
Oh, has he?
Still got it. So
it's in there somewhere.
So again, did you see what I mean there? And then I can move the path -1.
-1.
I didn't do a whole lot to do that.
Called it though. Bang on.
Still got it. Cool.
So is your swing plane there at 50?
Way too shallow.
Yeah.
I know that.
Is that lie angle though, or not?
Potentially.
Is it?
I also think, you know, I'm really not blessed with the tall gene.
No.
So naturally, this is probably going to sit a little that way.
Right.
Tall people, perhaps. You know, there's lots to be said for it.
Would you say someone at 6'2", set their swing plane is never at 50?
Possible. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very more rare. Very rarely see it down there. I still have a corridor I want to work with.
Yeah.
I still don't think you can.
Do you look at arm lengths or anything like that, or not?
Not something I'm personally got into.
No.
Personally, I know a lot of guys do, and if I was going to go down that road, rather than me try and act like the expert, I've got experts. I'll give them to our biomechanic. Yeah. He'll give me the lowdown. And then, we'll get them properly screened. I don't feel like I'm qualified enough in that. So.
No, it's it's an interesting world, isn't it? The old arm lengths and
I think that
swing
needs
types and stuff.
That needs to stay with my biomechanic. I think. And I'll be led. Good setup. And 3, good to the top. Still feeling wide and not rotating this way.
Yeah.
Try and talk me through some of the feels for that, because that's awesome.
Yeah, I would just say it just feels a lot more
open.
Like a lot more. It feels like I'm almost aiming left.
You should be a touch, because you've got to get. If we look at what impact is, just come down to impact. The average impact with an iron will be about 20 degrees open with the rib cage.
Yeah.
30 degrees open with the pelvis.
Yeah.
And about 4 to 7 inches forward with the pelvis. So 4 to 7 inches forward.
Yeah.
30 degrees open. 20 with the chest.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between spinning open. That isn't what we're doing. So if you go to the top again, as you keep the width, you will, as in transition, move into the kneecap first, then around. Now your pelvis is in a completely different place.
Yeah.
Rather than it going
Yeah, it's weird.
here, it's got to go here.
Yeah. Do you know what I feel like before? I feel like I'm almost in. What did you say the difference between hips and shoulders were? 10 degrees?
With an iron, roughly. I mean, roughly. There's going to be varying amounts.
Do you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm at level at P6 with hips, but shoulders are closed.
Okay.
I feel like I'm 10 degrees out here and here.
Tolerance. I'm okay with that.
So like, but then like what here, now I feel way more open here. This is square.
And I think for a fade bias pattern, that would be acceptable, right?
Right.
Would that be acceptable?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say for like, it's strange though. I don't see irons left to right.
Okay.
So like.
You haven't produced that yet either.
No.
You haven't produced that.
But like,
you've produced pretty neutral.
I would say like over time, like especially with where it's moving, I'd love to just see driver like 5 to 10 yard fade. Do you know what I mean?
But I think though, going back to our conversation,
yeah,
if you just did everything you did now and moved the ball up, would the path move?
The path would move left. Yeah.
I think that's where you got to sit.
Yeah. So then irons.
I think if you sit neutral with an iron, your path will naturally sit fractionally left.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because now we're sitting neutral with an iron with a swing direction at around about 0. Whereas before it was like...
Well, who hit that last shot? Was that me?
Can't
remember. Might have been. Go again.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Go again.
Little 3/4 one again?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. So from there, good alignment, good. See, I think you'll get a lot more face control from here.
Yeah.
The plane is jumping up slowly.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
The path is coming back down. Swing direction is -1.5. And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
It's a lot better, isn't it?
A lot better.
By like 4 or 5 degrees. That felt a bit chunky, that one.
It's pretty good again.
Still good.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Okay, now do me a favour. Now shift your baseline a hair to the left and have a little bit more intent with what you're doing.
Just with feet, yeah?
Well, it's going to be everything, isn't it? Like you're going to shift your whole baseline fractionally to the left.
Yeah.
You're then going to align the face appropriately at address.
Yeah.
And then you're going to make these very similar golf swings. Now, because of the alignments and the face being in a slightly different place, you should start to hit it.
Left.
Yeah, it would maybe start to drop off. And this is good practice. Although you like to see it neutral, this is good practice.
Right, so a hair left with body, feet, everything.
That's it.
Would you say I can feel like I can open up more on this one?
Yes.
Or I'm going to have to, yeah.
Yeah, now you're shallow enough.
Okay. Is it?
You're going in the hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Now look what happened to your path.
Ooh.
Now look what happened to the path. So we've shifted it from 3, nearly 4 degrees to the right to 0, and then just started to talk about intent and shot shape.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be more out in the middle, by the way.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, strike now. Yeah.
There's a different set of numbers for you to compare.
Yeah.
So this is the swing that was attached. I'll send you this as well.
Yeah. Was that swing there?
How's that swing?
Wow. I'm surprised because it felt like I was so like this one.
Now that's what I'm saying. So isn't it interesting how you felt like you was opening up, but you just saw the shaft moving through here?
Yeah.
We're also not saying, just to clarify, we're also not saying that we want to be spinning from the top.
No.
You're probably never going to hear me say that, ever. But your sequence is pretty good because I think of the good background work you did with Liam.
Yeah.
In learning a good transition from shifting, turning and extending.
Yeah.
That is completely the correct stuff to do. So I think you've already got good foundations in place.
Yeah.
So when I ask you to open up, it's not like you'll go in, you know, you already have good elite foundations in place where you go, boom, there's a little bit of this, we just control in this joint better.
Yeah. And
now you can actually start to feel the ribs opening out a little bit more. Yeah. That's why it looks great.
It's interesting how, you know, like I think in the golf swing, you get, so like right arm, for instance, we figure this part out, but then today we go into an area of where like what I used to do in terms of this move, shallowing, where I artificially did it, that used to work. But now that I've got this part,
correct.
It doesn't work anymore.
No. So, and that's the thing about matchups, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So if you go to the top again, and let's say this starts to wrestle forward, all of a sudden, having the shoulder lifting, head backing up, shoulder staying closed, sliding forward, that shaft is in a relatively decent delivery position. But then you've had to change a whole lot of posture to be able to achieve that.
To match that up,
Whereas I would like to see, go to top again, the fantastic work that you're already doing. You can obviously, like I said to you, there'll be an element of lowering and an element of shifting. But there's also got to be a slightly more aggressive opening rate now.
Yeah, to match that back up.
Again, you're going to aim your baseline fractionally more to the left.
Yeah.
You're going to do all your good work. That's it. You're still going to shift to an element, keeping that there. But then I need to get the rib cage a little bit more open.
Yeah, that felt way left.
Club path 0.8.
Mate, that's crazy.
And the plane's jumping up. Can you feel a lot more ball on face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt crazy, that.
Driver, just to point out, this is where I want things to be different. Over the last few years, I'm starting to treat driver like a different animal.
Yeah.
Like its own shot shape, like a flop shot would be its own shot.
Yeah.
I'm now starting to treat driver a little bit more
different
like its
piece,
own.
isn't it?
Now, the reason I'm going to say that to you is the driver swing that you sent me and I posted the other day, I probably don't need you to open up as much. Let me show you. Let me show you the differences in this. This is why I'm saying treat driver fractionally different. Because when we see your iron swings, and I'm picking these two because they're very different.
Yeah.
Both of them, unbelievable at the top after you've practiced, right? Both of them spectacular.
Net swing, mate, yeah.
With the driver, I personally don't think you need to open up as hard unless you want to see it shaped slightly differently. Okay? Let me show you why. You would agree with me that in the iron swing, there was a way more, as we spoke about a moment ago, way more this sort of lasso work, plus the shoulder going a little bit that way, which got the hand path way more behind you and deeper.
Yeah.
With a driver, didn't happen. A little bit, but not as much of a drop.
Right.
Does that make sense? So then you actually end up there with driver.
Money.
Versus a little bit more, well, I mean, it looks quite similar, but we know by the time you hit it on the up, it's fine.
Yeah.
But now that is completely different from the driver, and where I don't want to get back to is here.
Yeah.
And this is where I don't want to get back to. You can see the alignments.
Yeah, the alignment is just...
The narrowness.
Yeah. Different beast.
Steep and outside. So I've got to be a little bit mindful. Because that's way better for something that's on a T-peg, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's different.
So I really like that.
Yeah.
So with driver, I think you just have to treat it like its own entity a little bit.
Yeah.
So yes, you're still going to feel wide to wide with the trail arm still being a little bit more externally rotated, but don't like spin out from the top again. Do allow it to stay a little bit more closed and rotate a little later in this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit wary of you going 2 steps back again.
I'd say with irons, definitely, I feel like I've got the freedom to do that. With
What,
opening up.
Reason
with
being,
driver.
you're hitting down on
Exactly,
an iron,
yeah.
so it will mask the path a little bit. Does that make sense?
Driver, you just don't. I feel like there's no room.
Moving on to driver,
Yeah.
right? Just to cover it all off.
Yeah.
You said as well, high toe.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, that makes so
If
much
I got-
sense. Wow.
If I stopped going this way
Yeah.
as much, by the time I unload it, it's unloading downwards on the ball, isn't it? Whereas from here, if I can keep it nice and wide, I can land this thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense? I don't
Yeah.
want to see it pull in and go paintwork
Yeah.
on me. Because again, all the time I start flexing the arms, the club is moving closer to me,
Yeah.
toe strike,
Yeah.
also closer to me, losing the attack angle.
Yeah.
So with the driver, feeling like it's a bit more there and maybe not as open in the body might be a good thing for you.
Right. Okay.
Do you want to hit a few?
Yeah, I'll hit a couple. We'll end it with a couple of dogs, shall we?
On a serious note though, does it all make sense?
Yeah, mate, massively.
Like,
I feel like when I'm in here, mate, with you, I get like moments where I'm like, fuck, you're like, that makes so much sense. I'm like, yeah.
I'm always trying to think as well, like step ahead, like, okay, if he makes this change, what's he going to do?
Yes.
Like, I don't want to, you know, and also I don't want to ruin you. I want you to hit the shot that you need to hit. Like, if it needs to be a little cut, you know, I want it to be that.
Yeah.
I'm not standing here saying you've got to draw it,
No.
but at least cut it in a sensible fashion. Don't cut it by like getting steep and wipey.
Yeah. Oh, I might have, do you know what I might have? I might have a castle tee.
Would that be better for you?
Well, I've just been off of...
They sit a little proud in here is all I would say.
What, a little higher?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just actually, do you know what though? I'd like to start with that tee because I'll talk to you a little bit about flights with driver.
Okay.
And then also kind of how you would maybe feel about them and what you think is my... So I feel like I've got 2 swings with driver. Remember, sir? Yeah, I feel like this tee here, for me, like low tee, I'm scared of high right. Dead shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say that's probably my one where, like, if there's OB right, I'm scared of hitting it high right.
And would you peg it down for that shot?
Exactly. And then
Okay.
I worked out in Spain, off of low tee, I won't ever start it right.
Correct.
So when I go, like, say if I have a hole now where OB's right or trouble's right, I'll go low peg, make sure it starts left, and I'll just fade it.
Perfect. Again, what's important is to obviously play the shot in need.
Yeah.
If there's trouble everywhere,
Yeah.
you know, I call it a shitting yourself shot. Like, if there is trouble everywhere, I'm pegging this thing down and
And I'm just
I'm
hitting
not
that.
going to fly aerial.
Yeah.
I don't want to get underneath it. I don't want to do those sorts of things. But
Yeah.
look, let me nick that. I'm going to show you something stupidly extreme, which isn't realistic, but it makes sense.
Okay.
Here's my new T-peg.
Yeah.
Right, here's my new T-peg.
Yeah.
So I've got low peg and I've got the really high peg.
Yeah.
How am I going to move to clip that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you step to one side.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna
again,
have to get-
how am I going to move to clip it up? So when we peg it up way too high, how am I going to move to do that? I'm just trying to find a flat place for it. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I think pegging it up high is sometimes one of
dead
the
move.
most dangerous things.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was a lower peg, I think there's merit to say that I might stay in my posture more.
Yeah.
I might have more control. You know, I'm not
Stay
trying
on
to
that.
fine
No.
strike for something that's up in the air. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
If I want to absolutely bomb it
Yes.
and I'm okay, pegging it high, getting underneath it, letting this thing absolutely square up and release.
go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I can hit it, you know, I can
Yeah.
move those things around.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say from a high peg, unless you get underneath it, you have the potential to work the path differently as well, right? Because of the
Yeah.
attack angle. Remember we
Yeah,
said
yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
3D
yeah.
stuff? If I'm pegging that down and I'm hitting almost like a degree down on it, the path actually stays a little bit more square, doesn't it?
Right.
Because
yes.
of, just to recap on
Yes.
that,
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
if I've pegged it really, really high, by the time the upper end of this strikes the golf ball, it's moving more to the left. Whereas if I get a little bit more on top of it, the path is maybe a bit more
neutral.
Neutral. So, you know, I don't mind people swinging like maybe one up level with a driver. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Hitting down on it doesn't cause you to hit it out the top. Well, I'll use that lightly. Yeah. Having an attack angle that's negative doesn't cause me to hit it high out the face.
No.
Managing the height of the arc is
key. Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with you pegging it down. You probably will feel a little bit more comfortable you're going to hit.
It's my safe shot. Like I know where that one's going to go.
But also look at you as a trend.
Yeah.
Do you get wide or narrow?
Narrow. Yeah.
You know, like that's your trait, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a mini driver?
Yes, I got one in there now. Yeah.
Like it?
I love it. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because I can hit it.
With driver, let's just see where we're at without opening up. Let's just see, like, and I'll tell you if you need a bit more or less. So go to the top, keep the width, keep it in the 3. Let's just see where we get to. Let's just check the numbers.
Necky.
Cool.
Necky draw.
Trackman sometimes misreads it indoors.
Does it?
I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, necks sometimes go left on Trackman indoors.
Do they? That's interesting.
Yeah, don't know why.
It might be this driver.
What have you got it set to?
I don't know. Cobra sent me some drivers, H4.
Okay, I'm not sure, I'm afraid.
No.
But that one, as bad as it was path at 1.
Yeah.
So
different, isn't it?
I would rather you sit there.
Yeah.
So there you go again. I know that bled off on you there. But the path was at 0.
Yeah.
The path was, and are you feeling opening up? Or not really?
No, not
Good.
really.
And that's why I said driver has to be its own beast a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you're currently hitting level to the ball, angle of attack at 0, a path at 0.
Yeah.
The plane's really good as well. That was actually just a bit of a face issue, if anything.
Yeah, was it? Just face a little right, yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's what I'm saying to you. We just need to manage that a little bit better. And I'll get onto your traits with driver in a minute.
Yeah.
But, mate, you don't need to swing any more left or right. Driver's awesome. I think with driver, like I said, making it its own beast, just making sure that it's wide enough is going to be your trick alone. Making sure that your elbow's set good, it's wide enough throughout.
Also high enough for me at the top. Like I find like that key piece of stuff with driver you said to me was like driver gets like it's great, but to get when it gets longer, it's like almost it goes this way, doesn't it?
Yep.
Versus when it's like shorter, wider. I was just going to hit one off pink.
Oh yeah, of course.
Pink and see what the old.
See what changes.
I'd say it would go further, hopefully.
I would say, what would we predict happens? Maybe attack angle changes?
Yeah, a little bit more up.
Let's have a look what happens. It'd be interesting, but you need to know this as a player. It doesn't mean you've got to change it, you've got to know it. So what happens if I do it? What does that do to path? What does that do to attack angle? Absolute machine. But then, here you go. Everything I said comes true.
Yeah.
I'm smiling now.
A little bit more up, a little bit more up, a little bit more left.
I'm smiling now because I literally predicted that. So, you know, if you come and look at this, you've now got...
Let's have a little look.
You're now in a situation where you pegged it higher.
Yeah.
Path went more left.
Yeah.
Because you hit more up on it.
Yeah, it's money.
So would we say for a lot of people out there that hitting up is good or bad? So
well,
good and bad.
Yeah, you've got to understand it, haven't you, as well?
It.
Yeah.
You know, the more I try and hit up on it, the more left the path goes.
Yeah.
Confusing matter. That's why I studied. It took me a long time to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting to know, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Now your biggest problem, actually, is this. And let's just toy. We'll go back to that pink one. Actually, I've got one here.
Yeah.
How would I manage that? Because that is a bit of a carve up. You know,
is it? Yeah.
I think that's a bit too much.
Okay.
I mean, our aim point is here.
Right.
And we've hit it over here.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit much. Now, the reason is because you swung 2 degrees to the left with a face that was open.
Right.
If I'm going to swing 2 degrees to the left, I need my face to be -1.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to what we know about you with driver. Go back to the top of the swing for me. And this goes back to the last time I saw you. As you come down and go this way, your palm stays underneath the grip, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And we even labelled that as a 3, a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
So let's try on this next shot. Yes, you're going to stay wide. What would happen if you just started to get the face a little bit more there?
Yeah.
So rather than the palm coming through underneath like that, what would happen?
Face would be
well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because we're aiming at that 312 mark, not the 374.
Okay. So just get palm a little bit more.
So you're going to stay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's go. Let's just see what happens.
Roger.
Overcooked it. One more.
Yeah.
Overcooked it. Same numbers, but face was shut by 5.
Oh, I shut that down, didn't I?
Just a bit.
Yeah.
And again. One more. Now you don't need to continually roll it.
Yeah.
You don't need to continue roll it. You're just trying to get the palm a little bit more on top.
Do you find that with like better players? You know, when they you tell them something, they take it so seriously, they just go.
Sometimes depends on the player.
I find sometimes when you try and exaggerate something, I just go to the extreme. Sometimes I don't ever.
I'm going to show you one last thing to finish off.
Yeah.
So I talk about the face. Stand just there for me because you'll see it a bit better. The face open, closed or square to the shaft. So this is the shaft.
Yeah.
And I'm going to match that in. That would be square to the shaft.
Yes.
Open to the shaft. And closed to the shaft.
Yeah.
So we know that we need your club face to be -1.
Yes.
See at the cut? So a little bit more close to the shaft.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to close the face to the shaft? So for example, no, I'm going to keep this for a second.
Yeah.
Because all I'm going to do is twist that to the shaft.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do anything. So if I'm here, and my right palm, we know we need it fractionally shut to the shaft. We know that.
Neutral, yeah.
So if my palm sits in a 2,
yeah,
it's open to the, and I've got some work to do.
Yeah, big work, yeah.
And especially we know that you're now slightly open, and you hit it on the up, and you're now cutting across that fractionally.
Game over.
There's your big one.
Yeah, there's the. Yeah.
So you don't have to shut it all the way down. All I'm saying is at P6, which has been a hot topic today, keeping the width, but I'm just going to practice having it slightly closed to the shaft.
Do you have you have one?
And then collect it.
Position 1 with the hand.
Yep.
Do you have a 0.5? Or not?
Personally not, no.
No.
But you can create one. You can create one. It's coming in. So go to the top of your swing again. Because your numbers are awesome. You're hitting up by 1. You're past -1. Everything you want to see with drivers there. It's not wipey.
No.
So the face is too weak. Now come down to P6. So that is fractionally closed to the shaft.
Yeah, money.
And then from there, you don't need to continually do anything too funky. Now you can just commit to that. Let's commit to one. That you're not going to carve it to the right.
Yeah.
This is going to take some work. Obviously, there's less loft, it's faster, it's lighter, it's a little more difficult, but you've swung it great. Should be money.
Yeah, it felt pretty close, that one.
Okay, here you go. Come and have a look at these numbers. Here's your numbers.
Yeah.
Here's your numbers.
There they are.
Now, playing that's sitting around 50 is exactly what we want to see with an iron shot, with a driver, sorry.
With a driver, right.
But now, all of a sudden, you've hit slightly up on it with a square path, which is great. That's what you want to see. Yeah. But the face is now
money.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, you don't need to do anything funky. Treat it like its own entity. Like I said, treat it as its own shot.
Yeah.
So with an iron, we were feeling like we're just getting slightly more open rather than dropping shut, close, shallow.
Yeah.
With the driver, you don't need to worry about that so much, but you do need to have a little bit more care.
Do you find for you, when you're practicing, is it maintenance would you go on maintenance work with irons, everything else, and then go and do a bit of work with driver just separate?
I think you should separate your practice.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. So obviously, if we're trying to make mechanical changes that I want to look different as a swing, 100%. Now, if you asked me that 3-4 years ago, I probably would have said, no, same swing, different ball position.
Yeah.
I think the more golfers I've had the opportunity to work with, I do realise that isn't quite. And especially now with driver,
Yeah.
With the long drive stuff, you know, we're learning that we've got to move more, extend more. All this stuff with the distance stuff, that is a different shot type. And people, I generally think people move differently in that shot now.
Yeah.
So we just got to understand what happens.
Yeah.
Because it is in a different location and it is fundamentally the same swing, but maybe not the same feels.
No.
Makes
yeah,
sense?
I mean, if we can do that every time, it's,
Come on, one more to finish. You've got one more in you.
I'd take that.
You've got one more in you. But same rehearsals. The rehearsals are way more relevant.
Are they? Yeah.
Like, yeah. So again, every rehearsal you make has got to be relative to the outcome. So go to top again.
I
love the fact you're not chopping across it by 5. That's good.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
So go to top again. You're going to hold your width. Face slightly closed to the shaft on the way down. You know what I mean by close to the shaft, yeah?
Yeah, here.
So you can see that would be square to the shaft, open to the shaft, and looking at a head relationship. So you want it, if that's at, 12, you want it just a couple of degrees down.
I know it sounds funny, but like, would you say for like a pre-shot feel for me, would you almost go wide and then just go into P6 and just see a bit of that? Yeah.
100%. And then commit to it.
Yeah.
So over this next one, I want full commitment.
Okay.
Because you have the opportunity to do that now.
Yeah, just commit, yeah. See, that's so weird. I felt like I've lost that way.
Because the path was -1. Great.
Yeah.
But the face was -3. Now, of course, we're still trying to figure that out. But what was interesting is that path and attack angle again is money.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of management over the face and it should be nice and good.
Yeah, it's money.
Good job, mate.